Great. As Margot said, I'm Jody Keenan. I'm with George Mason University, and I primarily am the director of the Virginia SBDC network. And we'll talk about that and the Mason Enterprise towards the end of my comments today. Let me make sure I can get this going. Okay. So I'm really framing my remarks today and the information today, framing it based on some fundamental information that was shared back in January of 2019 in a regional entrepreneurial assessment report that was prepared by Teconomy Partners on behalf of Go Virginia, which is a statewide economic development initiative. I don't want you to get bogged down on who and what, but basically, the assessment report was a baseline kind of evaluation and review of entrepreneurial development in Northern Virginia, really focused on traded sectors. But the information that is contained in the report is helpful to give you a sense of where the region is going, what the opportunities are in the region, and how your businesses or your fellow businesses kind of fit into those priorities. The findings of this report in 2019 have been used by the Go Virginia Regional Council to guide their investment in economic development initiatives around workforce, supporting private sector growth and high wage job creation in the region. The traded sectors, what that really means is they're kind of focusing on how do we build and support companies that create revenue or generate revenue and economic activity from outside of the region that brings new dollars into the region that can support all of the other regional priorities. So these are really the four basic stages of entrepreneurial development. And what I'm going to talk about is what are the strengths in the region for each of these stages, where are the opportunities or the gaps, and talk about what services are already available and what services have been developed or launched or made available in the past couple of years since the Teconomy report. So we start with ideation, right? Every business starts with someone or an entrepreneur, an individual who has an idea, has identified a problem and is looking to solve that. Into that commercial viability, we've got a company that's up and running or prepared to run. Market entry, we're expanding into new client bases, new customer bases. And then we've got a base of companies who are growing and stable and are taking root in the community, like many of the businesses that you all are representing today. So as I said, ideation. What's the idea? What's the invention? What's the market need? And is there perhaps any intellectual property or innovation that the company or the business owner has in mind that they're going to leverage to grow their venture? The regional strengths. let me back up and say that the data that is kind of the foundation of this Teconomy report is certainly a lot of quantifiable data, census data, business data, economic data that comes from federal, state, and local government. But then it was also augmented significantly by individual interviews or focus groups with businesses, business owners, community leaders, organizational leaders and pillars in the Northern Virginia area to give some perspective and depth and light to that data that we're all probably familiar with, census data and Department of Labor data, Bureau of Labor data. So the strengths that the region had then, we still have. Certainly we have high rates of new business formation. It's a business-friendly region. There's a lot of entrepreneurial support organization and activity going on in the region and in individual communities, as evidenced by Patrick and Clarice and the Chamber of Commerce, who are all doing great things, not just to support medium and large businesses, but really doubling down and understanding what do the smaller entrepreneurial small companies need in order to be successful and to fill out that infrastructure in their community. So all of those services are still available and growing and expanding. And I would say specifically from economic development organizations are really, as I said, focusing a lot of their energy and attention on how do they support and encourage small business and entrepreneurial development in their communities. Some of the gaps that were identified and are probably still challenges, but there's work being done to address those. Strong ecosystems that are building out on those targeted clusters, as we mentioned, the higher growth and economic drivers in a region, do rely on patents and licensing of technology and innovation. And in the Northern Virginia area, we don't see as much of that as we might see in other technology hubs around the country. If you want to think about Boston, Massachusetts, and the Silicon Valley and Austin. And so there's initiatives underway and attention underway within the universities, certainly from the state through the Virginia Innovation Partnership Corporation, formerly known as CIT. So certainly attention to incent and encourage and drive more of this type of innovation. Lagging growth of highly skilled talent, that was really driven, I think, because if you don't have job opportunities for the STEM workforce you might think about, then that talent is going to go to where the jobs are. And certainly in Northern Virginia and across the Commonwealth, there's been a doubling down, somewhat driven by Amazon, the Amazon announcement in Northern Virginia to focus on what is called the tech talent pipeline. Universities, community colleges, both at the private and the public sector level, are putting in additional resources toward graduating students who have science and technology degrees that can then lead into and support this type of workforce. So there's great work underway to close those gaps, but those gaps take some time to close. So we're not going to see the needle move too extreme in the immediate short term. The next phase in entrepreneurial development is commercial viability, right? We have products to develop. We've done proof of concept testing. We're validating markets. And in Northern Virginia, there is a wealth of regional assets and regional strength. We have a strong base of SBIR funded companies. SBIR stands for Small Business Innovation Research. It's the federal government's investment in companies and universities and federal labs that are developing new technologies and looking at how to commercialize, how to build a business around a technology solution. So in Virginia and in Northern Virginia, we have a significant amount of that type of investment in research and development, which can drive company growth or company expansion. There are also accelerators and incubators and co-working spaces, again, place-based economic development, where small businesses convene, whether they're technology-based or non-technology-based, where they convene for mentoring, training, advising, networking. Just connecting businesses with other businesses is an important component of an entrepreneurial ecosystem. And we have certainly in Prince William, there's a science accelerator. George Mason has some incubation opportunities. We run the Mason Enterprise Centers, which are regional incubators around the Northern Virginia area. There's Brickyard, there's Office Evolution. So when you're in a community and you see this kind of clustering of places where entrepreneurs and small businesses can convene, that is a measure of a healthy entrepreneurial ecosystem. And we're seeing more and more of those places pop up in Northern Virginia. Some of the gaps, we talked a little bit earlier about gaps in patents and innovation from out of universities. Limited research commercialization. If we've got large universities like George Mason, like Virginia Tech, GW, University of Maryland, and others who have strong research activity and capabilities. We need to make sure we're getting all of that, as much of that research that's applicable, out into the market to create businesses around. There are significant movements in this area now. The National Science Foundation I-Corps program, which is training, mentoring, training, and some funding to support this business development or business creation based on university research. There's a strong hub of activity in the DMV, and there is a new hub of activity that's happening in the rest of Virginia that Mason is a significant player in. One of our advisory programs is ICAP, Innovation Commercialization Assistance Program. That's a Mason-run initiative, no-cost advising and mentoring, again, for technology innovators and entrepreneurs who are looking to scale a technology business. And then Mason's Office of Technology Transfer is the unit at research universities have an Office of Technology Transfer that supports licensing and patenting of ideas that are generated within the university. And Mason has, in the past 3 years, to say we've tripled our staff sounds fantastic, but we had like 2 people. So right now we have 6 people. But you need to have that kind of talent in place to help researchers who want to be entrepreneurs, help them through that pathway. So again, some of those gaps are really being addressed. I'm focusing on Mason, certainly Virginia Tech, University of Maryland, all the Virginia-based universities are research universities are doing similar kinds of work in their regions. So then you've got market entry as the third stage of entrepreneurial development, right? We've got a company, we've got products and services, solutions that the market needs, and now we are developing our internal company infrastructure. Early stage, the strength in Northern Virginia is that early stage company activity contributes significantly to regional growth. The statistic that was shared in the report, that is a little bit dated, but probably hasn't significantly changed, is that 62% of the job growth in the region was from firms less than 5 years old. When we compare that type of job growth to other tech hubs around the country, they're seeing on average 36% job growth. So that's a significant strength that brings attention to the region, that attracts other larger companies, that attracts ideally capital, that attracts creative individuals who want to be part of that mix and have the confidence that there are assets in the region to help them launch their business idea. So kind of building on those, the flip side of this is that venture capital is, and you've heard, I'm sure that there's not as much venture capital or investment money available for entrepreneurs, not just in Northern Virginia, but in Virginia at large. And I will say there has been a doubling down on this. Mason has sponsored for the past 2 years, and will be doing it again in November of 2023, the Accelerate Investor Conference, which is an opportunity for 30 to 40 Virginia, ideally Northern Virginia, but Virginia-based entrepreneurs to pitch and present their investment opportunity to an audience of both regional and national investors, angel investors and venture capitalists who are looking for the next big business that starts as a small business. So that has brought in some attention, some targeted attention, not just to what George Mason University is doing, but to what the region is doing in support of entrepreneurship. Virginia, VIPC, Virginia Innovation Partnership Corporation, also has angel funds and seed funds to invest in small companies as they are getting ready to launch and as they're going through their growth process. And then Prince William County has their Ignite grant as an example. This is certainly not an exclusive list, but as an example of regional priorities that are directing resources to entrepreneurs as they're getting to the point where they're ready to grow and they need investment and other assets to support that growth. And then the final stage is you're there, right? You've got you're a stable company, and now you're just ready to grow and expand and scale. And you're creating more jobs. In Northern Virginia, there is a startup activity in those target industries is significant. We have our share of companies that are on the Inc. 5000 fastest growing privately held companies list. And there are active activities underway to grow that workforce with, like we said earlier, kind of a focus on STEM. The STEM sectors. The Commonwealth Cyber Initiative is an activity that provides internships for students who are interested in expanding into the cyberspace, provides research and development funding for companies and faculty who are working in cyber. We have some advising and mentoring programs for small companies in the cyberspace to ensure that they have the information and the resources to grow and expand and to stay in Northern Virginia, right? And then, of course, Amazon HQ2 came to the region because of not just what was already available, but the potential to grow and expand and build on what is available in the region. Gaps are that the workforce, Amazon is coming as an example to hire large number of employees. Many of the companies in the region, you hear the numbers of the tens of thousands of unfilled positions. So there are, again, within the university system and community college system, many initiatives, primarily under the umbrella of the Tech Talent Pipeline, where the state is investing money into faculty and facilities to make more seats available for students to get trained and credentialed, whether it's at the 4-year level or the 2-year level or somewhere in between, to get credentialed to be qualified employees to work in these industry sectors. Mason Fuse is the initiative in Arlington that was alluded to in the video. The big project there where we're building academic building, but it will also be shared by not just academics and research, but also private companies who are looking to partner with the university and hire students that are graduating and be involved, companies that are involved in the R&D activity of the university, and also to incubate small companies who want to leverage university talent and who also want to partner with some medium and larger size businesses. Again, those kind of place-based activities where you kind of build the petri dish, get all the parties involved, and the magic happens. So that was just a brief kind of overview of what the strengths are in the region and where gaps are, and what activities are underway across the region, both with private sector, the public sector, chambers and economic development organizations and institutions of higher education to work together to maximize the performance opportunities in the region. What does Mason have to do with all of this? So we talked about specifically some of the student programs and the faculty programs, but I'd like to introduce you, if you're not already familiar, to the unit that I represent, which is Mason Enterprise. I'm going to flash up an org chart that is going to be like, what does that mean? It's really just an illustration to show you how robust we are, how committed we are to this work, and that there are also people like me, behind the scenes, ready and willing and available to help you or your other partner businesses grow and problem solve in the region. President Greg Washington has coined the Mason, Virginia Promise, and this is the Mason, Virginia Promise: a guaranteed pathway to a bachelor's degree or help starting a business for every Virginian who wants one. We consider ourselves kind of a university of the community, of the Commonwealth, and in many respects of the world. But this is his kind of driving principle. Mason Enterprise fulfills the part of the promise for help starting a business, okay? And we're really proud to be part of that, to be such a significant part of the Mason, Virginia Promise. Okay, here's the eye chart. Don't get scared. Mason Enterprise really has 3 legs. The first leg is federal and state advisory programs, okay? The Small Business Development Center, which I represent, we provide no cost, free to you, confidential one-on-one business advising. You come in, you've got a problem, you're looking for financing, you're looking to find new customers, you want to export internationally, you need help with hiring and retaining employees. I mentioned you're looking for financing. You want to grow. You've got a particular challenge or problem. You can come in, meet with one of our professional business advisors in a confidential setting and get help as you attack the challenge or the opportunity in front of you. We enjoy a really fantastic partnership in Prince William County and in Manassas, Patrick, with Prince William County Chamber, the Prince William County Office of Economic Development, and the City of Manassas Office of Economic Development. We also support businesses in Manassas Park. I don't want to leave them out by any means. And so we have some in-person representation in the county and in the city, but you can also meet with us virtually. If you want to come to our Fairfax location, you can do that as well. So, Small Business Development Center, business advising and training. We do a ton of webinars and in-person training on the whole gamut of how do you start a business, for sure. And I think most people think of us when they're starting a business or think of us as a place to go for startup assistance. But for those of you who are already in business, I encourage you to reach out to us, even if it's just for an introductory meeting to meet the team and get a sense of what our capabilities are. If you don't have an immediate need or problem right now, you might discover an opportunity to consider in your business just by meeting with our staff. Okay. Enough about my baby, the Small Business Development Center. PTAC, the Procurement Technical Assistance Center, is a similar program in that it's free to you business advising. And let me pause for a minute. The reason it's free to you is because we are funded by either the Small Business Administration or the Department of Defense and partners like Prince William County Office of Economic Development, the City of Manassas, who fund us so we can hire the talent to deliver the one-on-one advising to you at no cost. So back onto PTAC. The Procurement Technical Assistance Center is a team that helps businesses do business with the government, both the federal government and local and state government. We can help with certainly all of the certifications that you could think of, right? Women-owned, veteran-owned, 8A, hubs, any of those certifications, the PTAC team can help you through that process. It can help you get registered in order to do business with the government entity that you're targeting. We can help you evaluate and identify what agencies, what departments are buying the goods and the services that you're selling. Who else is selling to the federal government? So we can give you some market intelligence on that vein. We can help you prepare proposals. So if you're not involved in government contracting and you think there's an opportunity, please reach out to PTAC. If you are involved in government contracting and you're having a challenge, or you want to expand into another agency, or maybe you are eligible to be certified, as a woman-owned or a veteran-owned or a SWAM or a Hub Zone or an 8A, if you're eligible and you just want to know more about it, reach out to the PTAC team. They'll be happy to help you assess the opportunity for you. I talked a bit about ICAP, our Innovation Commercialization Assistance Program. This is focused on technology companies and entrepreneurs who are developing innovations and looking to scale a business. So we follow the lean and business model canvas approach, focus on customer discovery and minimal viable products. We do help companies identify equity financing opportunities as well. But I will say we get many companies across all of our programs who want to come in and say, I need financing for my business. And maybe really at the beginning, they need customers or they need a plan or they need a strategy. We help you with that so we can prepare you for the financing. Trade assistance, we help young companies export. We do market research for companies to identify international markets or international suppliers or international customers. We help with compliance requirements, particularly for IT companies who need to make sure that they are within the letter of the federal guidelines for what can and cannot be exported. So if exporting is on your horizon, or you'd like to talk about the potential for exporting, please reach out to us for that. We have a Women's Business Center in Springfield, but that also serves Northern Virginia at large. Similar services, they probably do more training than advising, but they do advise. It's open for men as well, but they do naturally have a focus on women entrepreneurs. We do a lot with childcare providers, both home-based and childcare centers. We've got some specific curriculum around that, but we also in that program work with women on financing. Of course, there's some special financing programs for women entrepreneurs, some grants perhaps for women, and so we help companies or women with those. And then finally, we run the Business Finance Center out of our Community Business Partnership location, and this is all about microloans. We do some direct micro lending. We're getting ready to start a program, expand the microloan program into Prince William County, thanks to the partnership with the County Office of Economic Development. So if you're looking for funding that's under $50,000 and you are a micro business, which means fewer than 10 employees or fewer than 5 employees, the Business Finance Center might be a great place for you to start. Okay. All right. So Mason Enterprise, free one-on-one confidential business advising and training to help you grow your business or start a business. Easy peasy. And we've got offices in Fairfax, Prince William, Manassas, Loudoun, Alexandria, Springfield. So we cover the gamut in Northern Virginia, and we have offices throughout Virginia as well. Okay. Our entrepreneurship programming on this leg is about our incubation space. So we partner with City of Fairfax, Fauquier County, Fairfax County, Arlington soon to be, and run and manage incubators for small businesses. This is where a business comes, you rent office space from us. We provide shared services like conference rooms, reception service, mail service. You're in that kind of ecosystem with other entrepreneurs, other business owners. So there's networking opportunities and business development and joint partnering opportunities. You have access certainly to business advising and mentors. There's also some services that have been curated, payroll services, access to health insurance, and some other of those kinds of private sector tools that may be difficult for a small company to identify or afford, but because of the collective buying, so to speak, we can support you there. We run a student incubator on our Fairfax campus of George Mason University. And the Mason Innovation Exchange is a makerspace on campus in Fairfax. It is a great place to come in and do some product development and do product prototyping. There's a opportunity if you're interested to learn how to use the tools and how to work with students to do some prototyping if that's what you're interested in. The entrepreneurship programming focuses both internally to the student population as well as externally, particular focus on our incubation companies. I'll add too, our business advising services are primarily focused outside of the university community, other than faculty researchers. We occasionally work with undergraduate students, but Mason's School of Business also has an an entrepreneurship program that focuses on student entrepreneurship at the undergraduate level. And then the final leg of Mason Enterprise is all of our technology transfer. This is where kind of intellectual property and licensing and patents that are the result of university research channel through. Again, we're helping those researchers if they're interested themselves in building a business or identifying how to get their technology, their patents, their licenses into a business to launch, help them with that. We're also working on corporate engagement, which is saying and talking with not just Northern Virginia corporations, but across Virginia and the region or the country. If you have an R&D challenge or problem, we've got the talent to help you solve that. Now it's a broad statement. Obviously, we have areas of specialization, but really looking to help our corporate partners identify solutions to the challenges that they're having or their customers are having, or helping them flesh out ideas and how to get, again, those ideas into the economy. Whew, okay. The bottom line is if you're in business, which many of you are, if you're starting a business, which some of you are, if you know someone who is in either one of those categories, please don't hesitate to reach out to the Mason Enterprise team. Let me just tell you, we say we do all this stuff, so what does that really look like? This is a summary of the activity that we did last year. We were at the front lines, as you can imagine, during COVID in helping businesses identify and apply for and receive all of the financial assistance that was possible or available. We also helped them identify how they were going to pivot. They didn't need a whole lot of help from us on that innovation side. If you all are still standing, you are the heroes of the economy. But this just tells you we provided over 40,000 hours of one-on-one advising. We assisted more than 11,000 small businesses. Now that stat is for statewide, because some of our programs have a statewide reach. That's not unique just to Northern Virginia. You can see that we work with a lot of women entrepreneurs, a lot of minority entrepreneurs, a lot of veteran entrepreneurs. We had over 700 events, virtual events, webinars and training, and our incubators collectively assisted and incubated just over 375 companies, all told to support or to result in the $1.6 billion of impact, which is a measure of contracts received, sales increases, and new capital that a company received, whether it was a loan or debt, some other debt vehicle or equity investment. So again, all that to say, if you're in any of those categories and you're looking for some guidance or some assistance, or you just want to sit down and meet with one of our staff to understand more about how we can help you in your business, please don't hesitate to reach out. There's my email address, and I'm happy to shuttle you to the right individual, and you can find out more from us about us on our website at virginiasbdc.org.